This is my electric bill summary. Of that $44.79, $29.26 of it was usage. The rest was just service charges. And here is my gas bill of $13.32.
Hello everyone, I am Prepper Princess, the author of Living on Almost Nothing. If you are interested in purchasing this book, I will go ahead and leave a link down in the description box below. In 2021, energy costs have risen all around the entire world. Here in the United States of America, electricity rose by 24.8% with an average cost of 14.12 cents per kilowatt hour. For natural gas, prices went from $2.91 in October of 2019 to $5.33 as of November 2021, and costs are expected to increase even more in 2022. This leaves us all wondering how we can save and conserve in these areas. The largest energy producer in any home is the heating and air conditioning system. While many approve of smart meters, which are great for many people, I personally recommend just turning it off completely and only turning it on when needed. Summers and winters will need the most, but this still leaves 2 seasons where it can be turned completely off in the fall and in the spring. On to the next. The next biggest energy user is going to be your hot water heater. No matter which kind you have, electric or gas, you can turn it down to the lowest setting and adjust from there. As a hint, if you're taking a shower and you have to add cold water to your hot water in order to reach your perfect temperature, that means that your water heater might be a little bit too high. It's on too hot. Making this simple adjustment can save you $10 to $15 a month. If you have an electric hot water heater, some of them are hardwired. In that case, there's not really much that you can do aside from turning down the temperature on the inside. And this is the case with mine. However, some electric hot water heaters are not hardwired, and that means that they take a plug just like a regular plug. For these, you can use a timer like this and have the hot water heater set and turn it on 1 hour before you're ready for your daily shower and shut it off for the rest of the day. If you have more than one person in your household, you can turn it on for 2 or 3 hours to allow for everyone in the house to get a hot shower. The typical hot water heater turns on for 3 hours per day. If you cut this down to 1 hour per day, you are cutting 2/3 of the cost of heating your hot water. Considering a typical 4,000 watt heater used costs $1.20 a day or $36.50 a month. This can save you up to $24 off of your bill if you use the timer and turn it on for only an hour a day. As an additional option, I am not telling you to replace your hot water heater because doing so is going to be a huge cost that would not be recuperated. But when it does come time to replace your hot water heater, you can go for a smaller size. Instead of a 60-gallon one, you can get a 50-gallon one. If you already have a 50-gallon hot water heater, you can go for a 40-gallon hot water heater. This will save an additional percentage by having to heat just less water in the first place. Only do this if you are in the market to replace your hot water heater anyway. Otherwise, you're just wasting resources and you're wasting your money. The last big user in your household is going to be your refrigerator, which I am sitting in front of. The average fridge in the US is 25 cubic feet, and they seem to be getting bigger every year. Mine is less than half that size at 11 cubic feet, and the smaller the fridge, the less electricity it uses. I am not telling you to replace your refrigerator, but when that time comes, consider purchasing a smaller refrigerator. The electric savings alone might be the same amount to pay for your new fridge. The average fridge uses 115 to 130 watts. My energy efficient refrigerator has a large surge of 750 watts that lasts for less than a second, then uses 30 watts. This is less than a quarter of what most refrigerators use. A couple things you can do is turn it from the highest setting to the medium setting. In the winter, you might even be able to turn it on low depending on where you live in your climate. This will save 1/3 of your energy costs. There is controversy around the next tip, which is to place large bottles of water in the freezer if you have the space. If not, food's fine. Some say that this helps while others say that it doesn't. So aside from that, you can also use the timer idea, which is the same as the one I used in the hot water heater, and you can run the fridge for 4 hours on and then 2 hours off. I have personally done this when the power has gone out and I'm using my solar units, and there were no issues with any food spoilage, and it still caused ice in the ice trays in my freezer to freeze when I added water. On to the next. Another large energy user in your home is going to be your washer and your dryer. The first way to save money on this task is to use cold water. This will save a little bit already. The average washing machine uses 500 to 1300 watts for a half an hour at 14 cents per kilowatt hour on average. You're looking at 91 cents per load, not including the 35 gallons of water used. So we're going to use an average of about $1 a load just for the wash. This does not include the dryer. So make sure that you are loading the washer all the way full and you are using as little laundry detergent as possible to save even more. To save on the dryer, hang dry your clothes. If you don't like the way they feel from line drying, you can dry them on the line and then you can put them in the dryer for just 10 minutes on the fluff cycle, and you're gonna save yourself 80 to 90% the cost of using the dryer, which is usually about 70 cents per load. Another thing you can do is put a clean, dry towel in the dryer with your wet clothes to save 30% of the time it takes to dry your clothes. Just remember that doing a load of laundry and drying it is going to cost you $1.70 a load. If you have a family of 4 and do 4 loads a week, you're spending about $680 per week or $350, $360 a year just to do laundry. Maybe you can cut this in half by doing less loads, doing only full loads of laundry with cold water and line drying your clothes. Remember, this does not include the cost of laundry detergent, so you might be able to save even more if you use a bit less of everything. Conservation is key and anyone can do it. You know, when it comes to things other than the big ticket items like your fridge, your washer dryer, your central heat and air, stuff like that, you know, there's not really that much that you can do. I mean, you can make small adjustments, but they're not really worth the time and effort that you're putting into it. Like some people will say, unplug the microwave. Like, okay, but you're gonna save maybe 25 cents a month, and you're gonna have to go through the hassle of plugging and unplugging your microwave all the time, and to me, that's just not worth it. Everybody always says, you know, go with LED bulbs. And it's like, yeah, that's great, but they haven't made incandescent bulbs in like 10 years. So if you still have incandescent bulbs, it was time to replace them 5 years ago or longer, you know. The CFLs are okay, but they do put mercury into the land when you use them. So I'm not into CFLs, and LEDs provide more illumination for the less amount of watts. So they use less power and they provide more light. Obviously, you're gonna want to open your windows instead of just automatically switching on an overhead light. I use blackout curtains so that when it's summertime, and this is the south facing south, so it's the hot side, right? So during the winter, I close the blinds, I close the curtains, and the blackout prevents the heat from coming in. That is, of course, if you don't have energy efficient windows, which is a big one. Now, when I lived in California, one of the first things that I did was blow insulation into the house. I paid $1,400. I never used my heater, and I didn't have an air conditioner, but I used my heater maybe twice a year. And now that I live in the desert, it's the same thing, but I mean, I don't use my heater at all. So I have a mini split AC and heating system, which is more energy efficient than your traditional AC and heating system, because you can close off other rooms and it's only intended to heat or cool the room that you're in. So I've got 2 of them. I've got one in the guest room and then I've got one in the living room. And that's all I need. And to be honest with you, I only use the air conditioner in the summer. I don't think I've turned on the heater this year. Maybe once, I don't know. But I don't really pay that much attention to it. But when it comes to stuff like that, you know, it's common sense, you know, open your windows instead of turning on a light. Instead of turning on the air conditioner, turn on a ceiling fan first, see if that works for you. And, you know, the whole smart thermostat thing is great. I get it. The whole smart thermostat thing is great when you compare it to circa 1984 technology, right? Back in the 80s, you would flip on the heater and it would just stay on until you manually turned it off. So people were wasting so much electricity. The smart meters are good for people who used that, right? But in my personal opinion, I say you just turn it off completely. You don't keep the smart meters, you work the degrees, oh, we're going to keep it at 78 or 52 or whatever it is. Turn it off completely. And then just when you get cold and you want to turn the heater on, go look at what the temperature is and say, okay, is it time to turn the heater on yet? It says it's 58 degrees. Nope, not time yet. We gotta hold out for a little while longer. And same thing with the air conditioner. Like, okay, it's 76 degrees in here. Is it time to turn on the air conditioner yet? Nope, not time. It's not 80 degrees yet. So, and in the meantime, when using a smart meter, it's going to kick on. So like say it's 78 and it only feels like it's 75. So you're good, but the smart meter does not have human senses. It doesn't sense that. So I always recommend not using a smart meter and just turning it off completely. But have a smart meter anyway so that when you do turn it on, it turns off once it reaches the right temperature. I have only two more tips for you, and here they are. All right, so one thing that I do recommend is having everything connected to a surge protector. And, I've got the TV, the Roku box, the DVD player, and then I've got it going over here to the lamp, the computer, the clock. That's my light. I'm not using it. Whatever. I'm using that for recording, but nothing else. But that is something that you want to keep in mind, is something that you can easily turn off. I know you all want a Rocky cameo. He's really tuckered out because we went for two super long walks yesterday. Sorry for the camera movement. But yeah, that's one thing that you can do, and it will save you electricity. Just turn it off before you go to bed. Flick it on when you wake up in the morning. And most people are in the morning, they're either going off to work or they're taking a shower. And people always say, well, won't the modem take 5 or 10 minutes to get going? Well, yeah, it will. But you're going to be too busy making your coffee and in the shower to really worry about it. One other thing I do want to recommend, if you have a fireplace, use it. So I keep boxes. I have neighbors who give me their boxes, and I will burn them in here, and it's just for like 10-15 minutes per night. But on a cold winter night, oh man, putting your Tootsies down in there and getting a nice warm thing on your feet in the middle of winter, man, that feels really, really great. So if you've got a fireplace, use it and collect wood or cardboard or whatever you'd like, and save it for that, for those really cold nights. And it's really great to take the chill off. All right, so this is my last tip, and this is in the bedroom. Now, I have not a heated blanket, but a heated under blanket, a heated mattress pad. And the cords come over here, and what I do is right before bed, about an hour before bed, I'll turn it on high, and then I'll crawl into bed and I'll turn it off. And that is a really, really great way to keep warm. I have never had to use the heater in the winter here, as far as I know. And oh man, when you climb into bed, and you've got that heated under blanket on, oh, it feels so good. And then because it heats under the blankets and you're on top of it, and then the blankets are on top of you, hot air rises. So it stays in between the mattress and the top blanket. And what's in between the mattress and the top blanket? So that hot heat stays inside where you are, instead of an over electric blanket on top, where it would just dissipate through the top of the sheets and the comforters. So I always recommend, what do I have? I have a Max Care. So I've had this one for, I believe, 2 or 3 years. I'll see if I can find it on Amazon and leave a link in the description box if you're interested. But the only thing I don't recommend is Sunbeam. Sunbeam just dies on me whenever I use it. Just use any brand but Sunbeam. But this is the one I've got. And again, I'll try and find it and send a link if they still make it. And that is what I've got for you all today on how to save hundreds of dollars on electricity. You have seen my electric bill. It is super low. And, in these times, we have got to just save everywhere we can just to try and beat inflation and keep up with our bills. All right, folks, that's what I got for you today. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out.
Predicted inflation for January was 7.2%. 7.5% higher than they had anticipated. It is the highest
I
rate
bet